By now, it is absolutely clear that Narendra Modi doesn't speak off the cuff. Every word he says is carefully planned, predetermined, and timed for maximum impact. And that's why he chose a stage in Japan to issue a withering criticism of China. The effect of his words amplified by the fact that he didn't mention the word China even once. Observers see his comment and the significance of his handshake with Japan as the most telling gesture of a new Asian partnership, one that for the first time could be a counter to China's rise. Gaurav Sawant files this story from Tokyo.
18वीं शताब्दी की जो स्थिति थी वो विस्तारवाद नजर आ रहा है। किसी देश में एनक्रोचमेंट करना, कहीं समुद्र में घुस जाना, कभी किसी देश के अंदर जाके कब्जा करना, इन चीजों की प्रवृत्ति चल रही है।
There was no mistaking just who Prime Minister Modi was referring to.
किसी देश में एनक्रोचमेंट करना, कहीं समुद्र में घुस जाना, कभी किसी देश के अंदर जाके कब्जा करना, इन चीजों की प्रवृत्ति चल रही है।
Nor was it intended as an ambiguous swipe at China. One thing's for sure, this visit to Japan isn't just about strengthening historical ties, but to send out a no-nonsense message to the hegemonic and aggressive rise of Beijing. China has already been quick to attack the Modi-Abe partnership, accusing the Japanese Prime Minister of dividing Delhi and Beijing.
यह इस बात का प्रमाण है कि भारत जापान को सबसे घनिष्ठ और विश्वसनीय मित्रों में समझता है और हमारी विदेश नीति में जापान की ऊंची प्राथमिकता है।
At any rate, Prime Minister Modi is backing his China swipe with some power-packed agreements with Japan. For starters, Modi and Abe have entered into a landmark defense agreement that will institutionalize joint military exercises and high-level exchanges. While the two countries will have to wait longer for an elusive civilian nuclear deal, more immediately, India is finalizing a historic deal for 15 Japanese-built US-2 amphibious aircraft for the Indian Navy to guard island territories, an explosive topic separately between China and Japan. And finally, birthing a special multi-billion-dollar economic infrastructure and investment relationship that could be the centerpiece of countering China's rise. What Prime Ministers Modi and Abe have achieved in Japan has been watched keenly from across the East China Sea. Checking Beijing's unstoppable rise will depend greatly on how the two leaders take their words forward. With Gaurav Sawant in Tokyo, Bureau Report, Headlines Today.
The high-profile visit of Prime Minister Modi to Japan needed a visible symbol, a tangible takeaway, and that came in the form of the bullet train agreement. Prime Minister Modi and Shinzo Abe today formally came together to help India come up with the bullet train. Prime Minister Modi has been talking about a train that runs from Ahmedabad to Mumbai. It's not going to happen very soon, and it will cost India 62,000 crore rupees, but Japan said it is committed to helping India build the bullet train. Gaurav Sawant travelled on a bullet train from Kyoto to Tokyo to give you a flavour of what you can expect.
For the many historic agreements signed by Prime Minister Modi in Japan, this has become the face of a new turbocharged relationship. A dream nurtured for long by Modi to give citizens of Ahmedabad and Mumbai a train that zips between both cities in under 2 hours.
We are ready to embark on a 500-kilometer long train journey on board this Shinkansen Nozomi 700. This is the fastest train between capital Tokyo to Kyoto, and this train will cover that 500-kilometer long journey in about 2 hours and 15 minutes.
On Monday, India and Japan formally agreed to further collaborate on the 62,000 crore rupee bullet train project. The iconic Shinkansen bullet's journey to India could take years, but interest in the technological marvel has peaked.
Tokyo and Kyoto is about 13,500 yen. Now, if you were to roughly calculate this and convert this into Indian rupees, it would be about 6,500 rupees. And many would ask, can people in India afford this fare? If we were to say between Mumbai to Ahmedabad, which is Prime Minister Narendra Modi's dream, to have a bullet train for 500 kilometers, would people be willing to pay 6,500? We spoke to some passengers on board this train and they say time is money, and paying 6,500 rupees and reaching in 2.5 hours and safe is well worth it.
Japan and France are currently involved in a complex feasibility study for the Mumbai-Ahmedabad bullet, a project that will cost a staggering 62,000 crore rupees.
The reason being India is very vast and people traveling from different places at some suburbs. So I believe India much needed because it will at least make our density at cities bit less so that people can travel around Surat, Ahmedabad for their work for a one day and then can come back at night.
Okay.
But can India really handle such advanced technology? The journey between Mumbai and Ahmedabad, about 534 kilometers, is similar to this ride between Tokyo and Kyoto, where the bullet guns up to a tearing 300 kilometers per hour.
It's very fast, and speed is fast, and in the car it is very clean.
Speed apart, can India replicate the effortless cleanliness that's part of the bullet train's area of operations?
No foul smell, no dirt. That is because, like in aircraft, in all these trains, you have clean chemical toilets and nothing is discharged onto the platform or the track either here or during that entire journey. There are clean chemical toilets on board. That is also an aspect that Indian Railways is looking at.
As India and Japan speed up discussions on the colossal level of detail required to bring the bullet to India, a Prime Minister's dream is fully on track. Bureau Report, Headlines Today.
Right now, the bullet train dream seems remote in distance, but won't it be so much fun if you can actually zip from Mumbai to Ahmedabad in about 2 hours? Modi says, dream big, and he'll work to make that dream come true. With Japanese help, for all you know, it might just happen. Right now, the only thing remotely common between Kashi and Kyoto is that they're both considered holy cities. Prime Minister Narendra Modi wants to make his constituency of Kashi or Varanasi very similar to the smart city of Kyoto. But what exactly is a smart city? Now, this is a phrase that's been used from the Modi manifesto onwards. But what does Kyoto really look like, and what is it that Prime Minister Narendra Modi wants to achieve? Gaurav Sawant takes you on a ride around Kyoto to give you a sense of what is it that Narendra Modi has his eyes set on.
Japan's Kyoto is what Prime Minister Narendra Modi wishes to model his constituency Varanasi on. Kyoto, like Kashi, is a heritage city, but that's where the similarity ends. Kyoto is now a smart city, and unlike the Ganga in Varanasi, the Kamogawa River here runs clean.
Water in this Kamogawa River is so clean that residents of Kyoto, even if jokingly, say this water is fit for drinking. The reason for this is, even if there are thousands and thousands of homes on the banks of this river, none of them discharge into the river. In fact, cleanliness is next to godliness.
Beginning his trip to Japan from Kyoto, the Prime Minister sought to build a bridge to Kashi, the foundation stone for which was laid with the signing of a Memorandum of Understanding on the Kashi-Kyoto Smart Heritage City program. Under this agreement, Kyoto and Kashi will prepare a detailed roadmap to make Kashi a smart city, retaining its rich culture, tradition and heritage. So what's there to learn from Kyoto? Being a historic temple town, Kyoto focused on energy efficiency, bringing pollution under control, responsive governance and cleanliness to transform itself into a smart city.
It's one of the most ancient colonies of Kyoto, yet not a speck of dust, no dirt anywhere. Why? Because every resident here takes pride in keeping his home and his street clean. They take pride in the fact that they live in a clean environment. Not only that, should somebody dirty the area, there is strict punishment that's imposed. There's penalty, they could also be jailed.
Kyoto fulfilled its dream of becoming a smart city in over 5 decades. It won't happen overnight for Kashi. With Gaurav Sawant in Kyoto, Bureau Report, Headlines Today.
China is rattled at the growing bonhomie between Delhi and Tokyo. Are we seeing a new anti-China axis emerge? And we've seen the smart city project, we've seen the bullet train project, but is it possible to turn this into reality soon? Let's go across live to Tokyo. Joining us from there is Headlines Today Strategic Affairs editor Gaurav Sawant. Gaurav, good morning. Really late into the night in Tokyo. You're still working away. Good to see you. Give our viewers a sense, Gaurav, of China being concerned at this new axis emerging. Chinese state media has put out a scathing criticism saying Shinzo Abe is trying to drive a wedge between Delhi and Beijing. Now, obviously, Prime Minister Modi and Shinzo Abe both are aware of the fact that Beijing wouldn't like this friendship. How do they intend to deal with growing concerns in China?
Tackle it independently. Relationship with China and relationship with Japan are two completely different entities, and that's the way Prime Minister Narendra Modi intends to play out this elaborate game that's going on in this entire region. He's very categorically said that India and Japan, the second and the third largest economies and the biggest democracies of Asia, need to work together to make 21st century Asia's century. That's the message that's going out, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi is speaking more than just a national leader here. He's speaking more like an international global leader who's saying India and Japan working together can actually change the dynamics not just in Asia but have a positive impact on the entire world. That's the message that he's sending out here. As you rightly pointed out, China is the other big player, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be receiving the Chinese president in about a week or 2 weeks from now. That is where he'll once again talk about India-China relations being very strong economically, but those border disputes, those border incursions need to stop.
Gaurav, we saw you take this nice ride on the bullet train, and it looks very good. We've also seen an agreement being signed between Delhi and Tokyo for the bullet train to come, and the first one will ply from Mumbai to Ahmedabad. But viewers watching this broadcast want to know, when does the first bullet train start running, and when does Kashi start looking like Kyoto? Are there timelines also that are being fixed in these parleys?
Rahul, these are very early talks, and this is a statement of intent. Now the diplomats on both the sides, the Sherpas, will sit down and take these negotiations forward. As far as the Shinkansen is concerned, Japan is very keen that India buy the bullet train. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is equally keen. The pricing would be something that India would be looking at very keenly, especially at a time when China is promising the same high-speed train, as many say, at 1/3 the price. That's one part of the story. The second part of the story is the timeline. Whether the bullet train comes first. There are 5 major agreements that have been signed today. In a way, Prime Minister Narendra Modi's election dreams, whether it's smart cities, rejuvenating the Ganga River, the bullet train, Japan is just partnering Prime Minister Narendra Modi's election dreams of changing India. And this is something that both Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe spoke about, of their close relationship that will actually change the nature of ties between India and Japan. A global partnership which is now being described as extra special, Rahul.
Okay, I'm going to leave it over there. Gaurav Sawant, for joining us way past into the night in Tokyo. Thank you very much. You've been working really hard and our viewers have been benefiting from all the stories that you've been putting out. Thank you, Gaurav. Let's move on to the other big story tonight. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's plan to have a big Teachers' Day speech has been hit by two storms. Firstly, schools are miffed with the fact that students have to stay back till 3 p.m. to watch Prime Minister speak, and that will go on till 5 p.m. Massive logistical headaches involved over there. And then also there's a proposal from the HRD Ministry that wants to rename Teachers' Day as Guru Utsav, which is the Hindi or the Sanskrit for Teachers' Day. But Dravidian parties are up in arms. They say, how can Sanskrit be imposed on South India? They don't want Narendra Modi to go ahead with his plan of changing the name of Teachers' Day to Guru Utsav.
One Teachers' Day and two massive rows. Centre's decision to rename Teachers' Day function as Guru Utsav upsetting the Dravidian parties on one hand. On the other, many schools already bemoaning the alleged compulsory watching of Modi's televised address at 3 p.m. on the 5th of September. DMK Chief Karunanidhi calling it an attempt to destroy Tamil ways, dubbing it as an Aryan plot. Other parties quick to join the chorus. MDMK and PMK strongly opposing the government's decision, terming it as an attempt to impose Sanskrit. The controversy forcing the HRD minister to issue a clarification.
An essay competition called Guru Utsav, which is a celebration of teachers, if that is opposed, then it appalls me that somebody would not want teachers who are the very foundation of our society to be revered and respected.
Government's directive asking schools to make arrangement for Prime Minister's live address to school children also was questioned. Many questioning the late timing of Modi's proposed address.
At such short notice, I don't think we can arrange anything.
And what are the other problems with the...
Other problems are basically about the timing. They schedule it for about 3:30 to 5:30, I think. And most schools get out by 3:30.
All eyes on the 5th of September. Will Modi be able to quell the controversies surrounding his Teachers' Day outreach? Bureau Report, headlines today.
This speech by the Prime Minister could just as well have happened at 9 a.m., 10 a.m., even till noon, and there would have been no problem at the schools. Why do this after when most schools shut down and inconvenience schools, parents, teachers and students on what is supposed to be a happy day? Maybe something for Prime Minister Narendra Modi and HRD Minister Smriti Irani to think about. The ancient Nalanda University, which attracted thousands of students from the world over, rose again today as classes began at its newly established campus at Rajgir. The new university has made a low-key start with just 2 courses, 15 students and 11 faculty members, a far cry from the ancient seat of learning that at one time housed 10,000 students and 2,000 teachers.
The revived Nalanda University has begun functioning, although the opening was a far cry from what the much-hyped project was supposed to be. After 8 years in the works, all that the university is offering is 2 courses, and studying at what was supposed to be a grand international project will be just 15 students who will be guided by 11 faculty members.
Saying that numbers are what people seem to care about. And please understand that we have to grow organically. We can get in a lot of students and they may not be successful. We'd rather train the ones that we think are really worth training. They will be the future Nalanda ambassadors.
More importantly, the university is functioning from a temporary campus at the Rajgir Convention Centre, while the university's own campus just has a boundary wall. The main university building will not come up before 2020. The students and faculty members will be staying at a rented 40-room hotel. Despite the shortcomings, the students are upbeat.
The experience is very good and it should be exciting because we have to live up to the expectations of the people who are expecting the real essence of this university.
This is the first time for me to come here and I'm really, excited. I am really interested in Buddhist history, and I know much about Nalanda University and the famous monk, Chinese monk, Xuanzang. He was from China, and he is very respected among Japanese people. So I would really like to come here.
The university, very near the ruins of the historic Nalanda University, was first proposed by former President APJ Abdul Kalam in 2006. It was set up after a 2010 Special Act of Parliament. Although the plan was to admit 20 students in both the courses, only 15 have taken admission.
8 years of sustained effort, so much hype around the international project. Nalanda University gets started from a borrowed building with just 15 students. The proposed campus, over 455 acres of land at Rajgir foothills, just has a boundary wall. But a beginning has been made to restore the ancient glory of the world's oldest seats of learning. With camera person Deepak Kumar and Ranjit, this is Rohit Singh in Rajgir for Headlines Today.
This is not the sort of debut that was promised when the idea of Nalanda University was floated. This is quite a slow start. Let's just hope bit by bit they can take this university to the heights that Nalanda had achieved.